You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Can't wait today to share with you the 7 anti-aging benefits of cannabinoids. I've talked about them in the past. I've talked about them, how they're going to be the wave of the future as well in terms of plant-based medicine or herbal-based medicine. And honestly, the research just keeps on coming. I want to share some of that with you today so that you're always on the cutting edge, that you always know before your friends, before family, before everybody else, what's going on, how these recent studies are helping to affect your aging. And really, when we talk about anti-aging, people are like, oh, what's this whole thing about anti-aging? Here's the deal. We know specific things that actually decrease your chance of mortality. They decrease your chance of getting things like Alzheimer's and dementia and Parkinson's, as well as cancer. And then at the same time, we want to increase your quality of life. We want to decrease all of those autoimmune-based issues, all those aches and pains. So what I want to do is I want to share with you the top 7, this is what I found, the top 7 anti-aging benefits of cannabinoids. If you want to find all of the details, I'll link that up today in the show notes. Simply go to stephencabral.com/711, stephencabral.com/711 for today's show notes. So I really do want to get right into it because the more I read about cannabinoids, the more I start to begin to believe it's probably a good product for most people to be using. And again, I always leave that up to you to decide if it's right for you. But let's go over a few more reasons. So in the past, I talked about what they're using it for in terms of certain dis-ease states, right, in the body. And why don't I link that up? I'll link up to I've done 3 previous shows on cannabinoids, or for those people, first time tuning in, cannabinoids are the thing we see in CBD oil, right? It's getting much more popular. So I'm not going to explain what CBD oil is today. Please go back. I'll put it in the show notes today. Go to stephencabral.com/711. I will link up those 3 podcasts. I'll send you the CBD oil page. Scroll to the bottom of that page. Listen to the 3 podcasts. And the reason is, for one, and I've said this before, this is information that really pharmaceutical companies do not want you to know about. They don't, because of how well it works for a lot of different dis-ease states, right? We're not talking about healing disease. We're talking about really working the body on an underlying root cause-based level, getting your body well. And then the other thing is, I don't know how much longer it will be. I hope that it's forever. I really do. But things are not looking good in terms of CBD oil being legal for forever, as well as cannabis or marijuana. And again, I'm not promoting marijuana. I'm not promoting THC. The CBD oil that I recommend is always essentially THC free. There can be trace amounts, but really it's THC free, meaning there's no psychoactive high. It has nothing to do with smoking marijuana, nothing to do with any of that. All it is the benefits without the high. That's what we talk about when we talk about cannabinoids or cannabidiol. So please, when I talk about that today, I'm talking about this is something that they've used with children. Like, these studies are used with animals, with children, with adults. I mean, very high dosages. There's no overdose. You can't overdose with it. They've used up to 600 milligrams. Now, to just get an understanding for that, they've used 600 milligrams with children with cancer, with children with autism. So showing that there's no upper limit. You can take as much as your body needs, but 600 milligrams, I'm typically recommending 25 milligrams to 50 milligrams per dosage. Now, when you look at that, we're like, whoa, they're using 600 milligrams. You're looking at 10 times the dosage of what I'm typically recommending. So again, it's an amazing product, but what I want to do is I want to share with you the education behind it. And then you can always say, is it right for me? Yes or no. Is it now the right time? Yes or no. You can decide on that, but you should at least have the information and the knowledge. So the first anti-aging benefit that you really should know about CBD or cannabis or any of these things I'm talking about in general is, again, all non-psychoactive, no psychoactive high at all, right? You can use it during the day. There's no issues with that, okay? The worst side effect when you use too much is you start to get a little tired, a little too relaxed, right? But again, you can always use it at night first, which is what I always recommend at first. See how you do with it, and then you'll find the right dosage for you. But here's the deal. This is actually a pretty good segue. I didn't even mean for that to happen, but it improves your sleep. One thing we know with anti-aging or aging-based, a lot of people don't sleep as well, right? They have maybe a little higher cortisol production. They have decrease in serotonin. They have a decrease in melatonin output. Well, what CBD oil does is it allows for the expression of a more relaxed parasympathetic-based state. And if we can get your nervous system and your body more relaxed, well, that's going to allow you then to decrease the heart rate, to decrease the stress hormone output. That's why it is so great for hormones as well. And it allows you to get into a nice, deep sleep. So not just sleep, but really allowing you to get into that deep healing state. And if you can do that, well, your body's going to rejuvenate at a faster rate. You're going to show less aging. You're going to have more energy and all of the other great things that come along with that, which I'm about to just go on to those now. So number 2 is, besides improving your sleep, which it absolutely does, besides our deep sleep protocol or our sleep protocol, I also recommend CBD in addition to that. So great for that. If my mind's racing, if I have a lot on my mind that night, I'm reaching for 50 milligrams of that. But again, this is just one more opportunity to think about what it could be good for. My other big thing is improving memory. People are always asking, how can I improve my memory? I feel like my memory's not as sharp as it used to be. Well, we're going to go through why that is today, talk about that. But one thing in terms of how do I improve my memory is to look at, so they've done some really great studies, okay? Some of the studies showed, again, some are with mice, some are with humans, but in a dramatic improvement in cognitive function with the addition of cannabinoids into human and mice-based studies. So those one specific study, so the study that were treated with additional cannabinoids increased cognitive function, increased memory, better recall on tasks, what they had to do, better recall on memory. So, again, now it's over 1,000. When I used to talk about CBD, cannabinoids, it was 926 studies. That's what got me interested. I said, I can't deny this any longer that it's working. These are real scientific-based studies, now well over 1,000. So able to make better neural-based connections, which I'm going to talk about in my next one. So improving memory, but also what happens is it's an anti-inflammatory for the brain. So if we can allow for less inflammation in the brain, and we've also seen additional studies that back this up, that stress in the brain, inflammation in the brain can lead to an increase in amyloid beta or brain-based plaque. Now, this is the same type of plaque that can cause Alzheimer's, that can cause dementia, and that increase in stress can also cause Parkinson's as well on the brain. So what we're looking for right now is this is true cellular research that shows that those people who supplemented with cannabinoids had less amyloid plaque, less development of amyloid plaque, and a slowing of any type of dementia, Alzheimer's, any of those things. So if you know anyone whose the memory's getting a little slower, who might look like the early onset Alzheimer's or dementia, I can't recommend enough adding cannabinoids back into their daily routine once or twice a day. Another big one, skin quality, right? How many people out there want better skin, more vibrant skin, better elasticity? Well, a lot of people don't know. As we age, we actually start to decrease vitamin C because a lot of people aren't getting in. Their body needs more stores of it because of stress. Collagen's going down, increased need for vitamin A. We're exposed to more free radical damage, whether it's from pollution or UV rays or any of these things in the environment. And also, our skin is essentially a really good barometer for the oxidative process inside of our body. Well, what CBD does, or what cannabinoids do, is they actually help to improve overall antioxidant-based levels in the body, which helps to squelch free radical damage. This, in turn, leads to a better quality of skin, stronger collagen-based elasticity, and a lot of people don't know this, but you can actually use CBD oil right on your face and right on your skin. Of course, always test a small patch at first. I usually recommend a nickel-sized patch, maybe somewhere on the side of your cheek or on your neck, just to see the sensitivity, obviously, with your skin. It is an herb. Just keep in mind, this is an actual plant. It comes from a hemp-based plant. So that's just something, of course, to always test. Small spot, test it out, see if you have any type of reaction. Most people don't. But then you can mix it with your favorite oil, your favorite moisturizer. Let's just say you're doing something simple like argan oil or jojoba oil or any one of those. You can mix a little bit of just enough, maybe it's 4 or 5 drops in with your moisturizer, rub it right in your skin before bed, even in the morning as well. And you're going to then allow for it's like double dosage, right? You get it internally and externally to squelch free radical damage, improve overall skin quality. Check out the amazing success stories on that. Number 5, one thing in my practice that I see every single day, when people reach a lot of times their 50s, 60s, they sometimes get aches and pains, kind of nagging things that hang out from essentially chronic-based inflammation or arthritis. So what I look for is, okay, what's going on here? Is this just overuse injuries? Is this inflammation because of sports and exercise and workouts? Is there some type of osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis? Well, believe it or not, there are multiple studies backing up the ability to use cannabinoids to decrease chronic inflammation in the body. Now, this inflammation can come from allergies and diabetes and arthritis and neurovascular-based issues. So, again, a lot of research on this. Any one of these specifically, again, I've spoken about them on previous shows. I actually went in depth on previous shows on all the things cannabinoids do. But I wanted to let you know that one of the ways that cannabinoids shine is with inflammation. So I'm going to give you a recap at the end of what I believe cannabinoids are good for and what I don't see as much benefit from a clinical standpoint. So I want you to make the right decision, obviously, for you, whether you decide to implement this or not. Okay, big fan of that. Unbelievable, especially for what doesn't get spoken about enough is CBD oil or cannabinoids, the potency on its ability to deflame the nervous system. Hardly ever do we talk about in conventional medicine or naturopathic medicine inflammation on neurological based issues, meaning like I get it all the time, impingement and overall B vitamin levels and blood sugar levels and just overtraining, overwork, overstress. All of these things affect the nervous system. Your nervous system is essentially your brain sending signals down your spine, and off of that coming all the little nerve endings that innervate all of the different muscles and organs and actions of the body. Well, that can become inflamed. It really can. Just like your brain can become inflamed, your muscles can become inflamed, tendons and ligaments can become inflamed. Well, so can your nervous system. All right. So really important to check out sciatica, perfect example of that as well. Number six is it improves mood and lowers depression. Again, a lot of times as we age, this is shown that really after the age of 50, okay? After the age of 50, some landmark studies were done, really, really great, showing that overall, like lowest levels of depression seem to be like midlife, right? People talk about midlife crises, but for the most part, that seemed to be the lowest level, meaning like right around 40s. But after that, increased levels of loneliness, increased levels of anxiety, of regret, of overwhelm, of depression. So in my opinion, this would be also a perfect time to start using more cannabinoids. And the reason is this: I hate to see people reach for a pill in order to decrease anxiety, in order to decrease depression or irritability or overwhelm or can't turn off the racing mind, any one of those things, because I know that that's not a root cause issue. That's not really helping you. But by using herbal-based treatments such as cannabinoids, while at the same time looking to change lifestyle, by working with, hopefully you tuned into yesterday's show about finding a coach, by finding someone that can help work with you on these specific things in your life as well, that is where you're going to get the most benefit, because it's not a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. It's not putting something back in your body specifically as well. This is something that actually changes the receptors in the brain. And that's why it's doing it from a natural plant-based perspective as well. And again, I can't recommend enough going with a natural-based treatment first. Okay, number seven, this is how we're going to cap it off, and then I'm going to give you my recommendations. I've talked a lot in the past about telomere length. Again, if you haven't checked that out, go to StephenCabral.com/podcast and type in telomere, TELOMERE. I'll also link it up in the show notes today, okay? So just go to StephenCabral.com/711. If you've never heard about telomeres before, you have to check that out. It's the way that you check to see how quickly the body is aging from a biological versus chronological perspective. So if you're 50 years old right now, if you did a telomere test, it might say you're 40 years old, or it might say you're 60 years old, or maybe it says you're 50 years old. But what it's doing is it's showing you the oxidative damage and stress in the body. Well, one way that cannabinoids shines is that it helps to decrease stress. Really, it helps to chill you out. When I first got into it, I'm like, okay, I think I'm doing pretty well overall right now. I definitely get way too much inflammation still, sometimes from working out too hard, which I love to do, but I know that my body doesn't love it. So I'm like, I'm going to use it for that. But I also want to do it to be able to flip the switch when I get home. When I get out of work and I've seen people with debilitating health issues, or they've just been struggling with weight loss their whole life, or whatever it might be, I want to be able to say, okay, that is all things that I love doing and love helping people with. But now it's my family's time, all right? Now it's time to take care of my two little girls. It's time to be present with my wife, all of those things. And so that's why I used it. And I told you, I did that for a 6-month period of time. Every night I got home, I started with 25 milligrams, and then I just went up to 50 milligrams. That's the dosage that worked for me, which was essentially about 2 droppers or 1 full dropper. And that is what allowed me to really switch gears faster. So I always could, but a nice little walk home, 10-minute walk home or so. And then just using the CBD oil when I got home, I simply put it under my tongue, hold it there for 2 minutes, and then I swallow it. It's very simple, easy, right? And then that just enabled me to get into more of that relaxed parasympathetic chill out mode faster. So again, I could leave work behind me. I was more present at dinner with my family, could give my girls a bath afterwards. And I was just, not worried about what I had to do and all those specific things. And it works. I mean, that's the bottom line. Like, these things work. There's a reason why there's over 1,000 studies now clinically proving its effects. There's a reason why I just went over the 7 anti-aging benefits as well. These are things that you can start to take advantage of. Maybe it's not right for you at this time, but what I can tell you is that reducing stress, reducing inflammation is where CBD shines, CBD oil shines. So what in my clinical practice, other practitioners use CBD oil for digestion. They might use it for skin-based conditions. They might use it for a lot of other things, okay? It works for that. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but that's not my go-to. It's not my go-to for that, okay? I'll use it. I'm okay with that, but it's more like I would say a tier 2 or tier 3 supplement for that. It is definitely a go-to for any type of stress, nervous system, sleep, memory, inflammation issue. And that's why I picked these top 7 for you today. Because from a clinical perspective, that's where I see it actually work. Like, people know when they take it, you do have to take it. I mean, yes, it can work the very first time. There's no doubt about that. And if you get the right dosage, it works the first time. If you don't feel it really after 5 or 7 days, it just means you're not taking enough. It really does. So here's the problem with CBD. I really hate to say this because I don't want to talk negatively about other companies, but companies are marketing new CBD oil or hemp oil, whatever they're calling it. And there's 5 milligrams. There's 10 milligrams. I know people are taking 10 milligrams. I mean, it's not even like a child's dose is 10 milligrams. So an adult taking 10 milligrams isn't really enough. Now you can start there. You can just test it out. Test the waters with 10 milligrams, no problem. But most people need 25 to 50 milligrams. And again, I quoted studies, and there's many studies out there. You can even check them out for yourself, that you use 100 to 600 milligrams. I mean, you use a lot. Now, have I ever used that much? Have I ever used in clinical practice? No, haven't needed to. If someone wanted to use it for cancer-based treatment, part of a natural adjunct to cancer-based treatment, sure, that's up to them. Again, I'm always recommending working with someone if you're going through that, but check that out. Now, for everyday use, 25 to 50 milligrams, it's about that. A lot of people will try to sell you a bottle for like $30, $40, but the problem is it's 5 milligrams a serving and gives you 30 servings. So really, it's like 5 servings, 6 servings in the bottle. They don't give you an actual amount. So really, what you're paying for that bottle is like $200 or more. It's just not worth your investment. It's honestly not. Look for a company, look for a brand that uses organic, first of all, and that uses a full spectrum. You don't want an isolated cannabinoid either. The benefit, like most things in nature, comes from the whole plant, right? So you want the full spectrum. That's where I recommend. I'm going to link up the brand, obviously, that I recommend, the one that I helped to formulate, the one that I actually looked at. Okay, these are the organic farms that are doing it the best. We actually switched over to 2 new organic farms because we couldn't keep up with inventory because it works. I mean, that's the bottom line. People use it. They love it. They reorder it. It's a great product. I use it myself. So I want to make sure that it's always in stock. And believe it or not, we stocked out. We really ran out 4 times, which is not a good thing when people want to stay on it, especially from a clinical perspective. Someone's getting results and you can't supply them anymore with it. Not a good idea. So we have a new company, same exact dosage, just a little different dropper. Absolutely phenomenal. Of course, I stand by everything that we do. Yeah, it's just a great product. I will link up to it today in the show notes, the same one that I use. I still use it to this day just to let people know. Again, I use it for 6 months every night, literally every night. Now I probably use it 4 nights a week, I would say. Absolutely love it. Helps me get to sleep faster, helps me relax faster. Just can't say enough good things about it. But also the anti-aging benefits are there. They are real. If you're trying to improve memory, decrease chances for a lot of different risks for Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, decrease inflammation, decrease chronic-based inflammation, improve telomere length, decrease stress, all that great stuff, improve skin quality. Highly recommended. So, I'm a big fan. There aren't a lot of things that I would say that people feel the effects from a nutritional supplement. Most things are prophylactic, meaning like they're working great for you as a preventative measure, meaning like you can't feel them, but the studies are there supporting them, right? But there's a few things that you can feel, and that's something like using magnesium. Like you can feel that when you take it. Doing something like the CBD is something that you feel when you take it. So great product, stand by it. I hope that you can find benefit from it as well. If this show is helpful, please do feel free to pass it on with anyone you believe it could help. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.